So I went to a youth prison in the south of Brazil, and a young inmate said to me, the only difference between me and my former best friend is the time that the cops showed up. And I didn't understand. And so he explained, if they'd have turned up 10 minutes earlier, he'd have been arrested and inside, and I would be outside. And it helped me understand that our current way of responding to conflict through our justice systems, both the large formal one, but equally in our families, on the street corner, in schools, in businesses, in churches, our current way of responding can only contain so much complexity. So it gives the title of victim to one person and the title of offender to another person. And that is a limitation of the system. It's not an accurate reflection on what is actually happening to the people involved in the conflict. One thing I like about restorative circles is that they can contain a greater degree of complexity. We don't use the word victim to describe any one person or group within the circle, partly because I have no idea who is experiencing themselves as being a victim when we are gathered together. I don't see it as a fixed state. I see it, as I said before, as an experience of having the power to affect my own well-being out of my reach. I very much want the circle to support that shifting. I would like people to leave the circle experiencing themselves as victims less than they did when they entered the circle. So the word receiver is not a synonym for victim. Often, the authors of Acts experience themselves as being victims of what other people have done before or what other people do next. Often, they experience, therefore, the receivers as being offenders. They not only experience themselves as victims, they experience the others as offenders. Community members, through being indirectly impacted by what's happened, may well have an experience of victimhood. Sometimes the receiver sees the community as having offended, given that they did not support or defend the receiver more. And we could just go on and on and on. I think all the possible combinations can be there, and to some extent are likely to be there. So I use the term author, receiver, and community because that allows me to contain that amount of complexity. It's not that I've given up recognition that people see each other as offenders and experience themselves as victims. It's just that giving that title to one group and not another is not sufficient. It's not accurate.